What's up, y'all? This is Hammer here again, back with another video. And today I'm gonna be talking about Fresh and Fit and everything surrounding their situation and why the Fresh and Fit situation, in my opinion, is really nothing more than just you know pandering to white men going wrong, right? Now, before I even dive into the video, let me just say this. I had a stream, I believe, last night in regards to the same topic. Some of you guys were asking me, hey, what happened to the stream? Well, look, apparently the stream has some audio issues, so I had to take it down. But what I'm going to try to do is make a recording this video instead to kind of lay out the views I had in that stream. So it's not a big deal. But let me just dive into the video. So, as you guys very well know, okay, when it came to Fresh and Fit, right? The controversy in regards to Fresh and Fit is that recently they had this infamous emergency live stream in which Myron Gaines and Fresh was sitting on a table. They were in the studio and they were lamenting at the fact that their channel had been demonetized, right? This was the whole controversy, right? And Myron Gaines was crying, saying, "Oh my God!" Now they do have other platforms, like they are on Rumble. They are on other platforms too. I think even on Twitter, Instagram. But the problem when it comes to Fresh and Fit is that the vast majority of the audience is on YouTube. This is where they build their audience from. And although many of the audience translated over to these other platforms, it's not going to be the same. And of course, people were, making fun of Fresh and Fit. I say, obviously they do deserve to be made fun of, but I say, look, what's happening to Fresh and Fit is not about some content creator being bullied by YouTube. No. What's happening to Fresh and Fit is that you have a group of really two dudes, right? Two non-white dudes. Because, I don't consider Myron Gaines black. The guy's from Sudan. If you look at Myron Gaines' nose, like that Arab nose he has, no. He's not black to me. Okay. Now, the other guy, Fresh, yes, I would. But nevertheless, what this really was is you had two guys who essentially had no problem being black faces to a white male audience, and it went bad. See, for you guys to really understand what happened to Fresh and Fit, you have to understand how they came up. You have to understand the history of the manosphere. Okay? I'm no longer a part of the manosphere. I'm doing my own thing now, but just to give you guys a quick history lesson, the manosphere originally was not racially segregated. It was originally just a place of men of all races talking about their own issues, right? That's what it was, right? But what ended up happening is that black men within the manosphere realized that the same racism that they faced from white men in the real world, they were facing that same racism within the manosphere. And those same white men will still, calling them the N-word behind those slick words, talking about how they don't want black men. So they will see the same behavior. Even though the manosphere portrayed itself as being this thing about men of all races, in practice, there was a lot of racial undertones. And let me make this very clear before you have a bunch of white dudes in the chat, right? It wasn't black men weren't the problem. Black men had no problem with race. It was white men who couldn't get over race. It was white men that had to call folks monkeys and gorillas and say the N-word. It was white men that made race the issue. Just like how in America, right? Black people didn't have a problem with whites. It was white people who made race the issue. Same thing. And so what black men realized that, wait a minute. First of all, not only are you guys treating us the same in the manosphere the way you treat society, but you guys are not even acknowledging our unique experiences. In other words, let's be honest here. Black men in America have a very different history, very different experience in this country compared to white men. Black men have a history of, being brought here as slaves for the most part, going through Jim Crow, going through racism, going through the red line, going through all kinds of mistreatment, right? And essentially having to deal with the fact of them being a subordinate group to another male group. Think about how it feels like to be in a country where you have to be ruled by another group of men, and how that's going to affect your relationship with your own community, right? You can't defend your own community, right? Your community is being attacked all the time. You're being lynched. Those are unique issues that only black men in America, especially black American males, could really talk to. So look, you can't compare that issue to white men because white men have always been in power of the country and they still are. Whatever issue you have, I'm gonna give you an example, right? The power that white women have in this country, white men gave to them. It was white men that quote unquote, gave them sex-based rights, gave them the right to vote, all that kind of stuff. It was like you can't compare that. You can't compare feminism, which was empowered by white men, to when it comes to black feminism, in which black feminism in America is being empowered by the greater white society. It's like you white guys control the system, we don't. And so that's when the divide started to happen within America because, it wasn't that black men was focusing on race. But I was saying, look, we don't have we're not equally responsible here, and we don't have the same grievances. And so, due to the racism from white men, and due to the fact that black men's unique experiences were being dismissed, the manosphere split up, and you had black men go and make their own space, and that's really how the black manosphere was born for the most part, right? And what essentially happened is that a lot of the black male content creators kind of went over to the black male space, right? But what you did have is there was some black men who decided to still stay with the white manosphere, I guess, stay with the white dudes, right? But it was made very clear that if you wanted to be a black guy and be in the white manosphere, right, you could not bring up race, and you essentially had to be a black face for white male grievances. Okay, that was the reality. And Fresh and Fit is an example of those type of males. Okay, they could have easily gone to the black manosphere and done what they want to do. They didn't want to do that. They, both of these guys had their own hobbies, their own gigs before they came into the manosphere space. When they came in, they chose to go in full in, and they chose to go to the white side. They could have gone to the black side. For example, the Donovan Sharp, right? He originally started off in the black manosphere, right? The black manosphere put him on. He used to do shows with Ocean Jackson and LAR Movement. But guess what happened? He left that and went to the white side. And he's never been the same. And notice, now that he's on the white side, he essentially becomes a black face for white male grievances. Fresh and Fit, when they first came into these spaces, they chose to go to white side, right? Now, when they first began, see, I was watching Fresh and Fit when they had fucking 20 subscribers, 20,000 subscribers. A lot of you guys only came across Fresh and Fit like when they had 200K, 300K, like a lot of subs, right? I was watching Fresh and Fit way before that, when they were like at 200K, when they were at 20K. And what people need to understand is that when they first came in, right, it was the white manosphere that essentially gave them the original boost, especially Rollo Tomasi. Rollo Tomasi is the one that really helped the channel get up and going, right? That's the reason why when Fresh and Fit later on blew up, Rollo Tomasi was on the channel all the time because he was the guy that originally, helped them out. But what you need to understand is this. The reason why black men, for the most part, avoid the white manosphere space is because they understand that once you essentially become reliant on the white manosphere, they essentially force you to be the blackface. And it never ends well because the moment in which you can no longer be used, you get discarded. Fresh and Fit, they started off with the white manosphere, Rollo Tomasi helped them build a channel, and they blew up. And they were willing to be the blackface. They were willing to be the quote-unquote non-white face for the white manosphere. And you notice how as they got bigger and bigger, they kept pushing the envelope. They kept saying more and more extreme things. A lot of the stuff that white males said behind closed doors but couldn't say on the platform, Fresh and Fit will say for them. Right? Like, for example, when Myron and they would make streams about black people and calling them darkies and, oh, why can't you guys work harder? Most white guys cannot say that stuff on their channel without it being called racist, without the videos being flagged, right? Because remember, the moment a white dude says something about race, it's immediately called racist, okay? So they realize, okay, they can't really say this stuff, within, on their channel because of white, and there'll be backlash. But if they can get Fresh and Fit, these non-white faces to say for them, lo and behold, they'll get a pass, right? Fresh and Fit will be able to say out loud what white dudes can say on their own platforms without any kind of repercussion. And that's what you guys became. And remember, when Fresh and Fit first when they started blowing up, right, they were getting a lot of criticism because they were essentially people were calling them out for essentially just pandering to white people, right? Almost all the women on the show was white for the most part. Whenever they would talk about race, it was always just them bashing black people. But then when it came to white males or white people, it was, well, that's so. In other words, whenever it came to issues that affected black people, right, they made sure to say black. But when it came to issues that affected white people, it was, oh, it's all people. So people still sort of catch on that, right? And also the fact that, the only time they will bring on black women, they will always try to single them out, make them look the worst. So stuff like that. And when I was watching, I said, these guys better be careful. Because you guys are being used right now, right? Because, the white manosphere put you on, help you blow up. They're using you to say a lot of the racist stuff that they can say on their own platform without facing real repercussions. And I said, what's going to happen is when the consequences come to you, they're not going to save you. You're going to become just another N-word, right? And I was watching them grow up, right? You had first the situation with them being accused of quote unquote hating black women, right? Because they did one on the podcast talking about how they, if it ain't snowing, I ain't going. They were attacking black women on the panel, right? So that was the first thing, and of course a lot of white guys in the chat, they share the sentiment, and a lot of the stuff they were saying about black women on the show, on the live streams was stuff that a lot of white males think, but white men knew if they said that stuff on their own channel, they'll be flagged, right? YouTube will strike them. But Fresh and Fit can go and say all this stuff, and because they're not white, the repercussion won't be the same. So we're seeing a lot of crazy stuff, right? There were videos circulating of them calling folks monkeys. It was crazy. The stuff they were saying was really vile, right? So that was the first controversy, right? The first controversy. Then you had a situation with Albert and Preach, in which Albert and Preach exposed them for essentially not being honest about what they were preaching. That you guys are saying one thing, but you're practicing completely different, right? They got called out for that too. Okay? And even when it came to that, at first they lost, I think, close to 100K subscribers, a lot of subscribers, right? But of course, as time went on, they bounced back from that, right? Now, each of these situations, what you see is that Fresh and Fit keep pushing the envelope. And all of this, everybody knows, all of this is to appeal to the white male audience. As some will say, white incels, right? And I said, look, the problem is that, the more and more extreme they get, right, the more and more the white audience want more and keep pushing. But I said, notice how the more and more extreme Fresh and Fit got, the white manosphere did not do that. Rollo Tomasi made sure that, his platform was clean and he was very careful what he said. Richard Cooper, all these other white dudes in the white manosphere were very careful. They made sure their platform was clean. They made sure that, they were very careful. But when it came to you, they will always egg on Fresh and Fit to push the envelope. And I said, you guys are being used. Okay? You're being used to say stuff that, essentially the white males cannot say, right? And so what essentially happened, and I knew this would happen, right? What essentially happened is that Fresh and Fit kept doing this, became more controversial, kept pushing the envelope, and a lot of people on YouTube, they started to make a lot of enemies because a lot of YouTubers were saying, wait a minute, why is it that Fresh and Fit are able to go out here and essentially, say all of these things, but YouTube essentially gives them a pass? This is something that essentially folks were saying, right? Hey, Fresh and Fit are out here, they're breaking community guidelines, they're saying all this stuff, but they keep getting a pass, right? And so Fresh and Fit kept building, enemies after enemies after enemies after enemies. And I said, it's guys, y'all better be careful. You keep pushing that line. And even that, they survived that. But I knew that, despite them pushing the envelope, right, and essentially being, a non-white face for the white males, I said, eventually, you guys are going to push the envelope and it's going to backfire. Eventually, there's going to be consequences. And when there is, white dudes are not going to save you. These white boys are going to discard you. Okay, they love the fact that you're willing to go out here and essentially be their mouthpiece to say that the racist stuff they can't say on all platforms. But the moment that you guys are no longer useful, you will be discarded. And guess what happened? Myra Gaines went on essentially, right? Because Myra Gaines was still fuming about the Auburn preach thing. He went on to Sneako Stream. Myron Gaines went on essentially a racist, and I mean a racist tirade where this dude was just going insane. Going insane. I'm like, this guy was talking to calling folks the N-word, saying monkey, monkey. I'm like, he went so far, he got a white sheet, cut out holes within the white sheet, covered himself in the white sheet, and essentially started saying the N-word. Yeah, you niggas. I'm like, think about this. The stuff he was saying on what's those guys on Sneako Stream, the stuff Myron Gaines was saying on Sneako Stream was so extreme that even Sneako was like, yo, you're going too far. I'm like, he was saying the F word. He was like, the F word. He was saying the M. He was just going insane. He was wearing a white hood, trying to be the Ku Klux Klan. And I was like, man, I said, y'all fucked up. Y'all fucked up, right? But see, that wasn't bad enough. After Myra Gaines did that stream, right, I noticed how when Myra Gaines did that stream where he was, wearing the white hood, all that kind of stuff, right, a lot of guys in the white manosphere started to turn on Fresh and Fit. A lot of the guys in the white manosphere started to slowly call out Fresh and Fit and say, hey, you guys are going too far. I said, uh-oh, you better be careful. Okay? Up until now, you guys were pushing the envelope, and the white boys loved it. Now that you guys are starting to get a little too far and you guys are starting to become sort of a liability, they're ready to start to turn on you. But Fresh and Fit kept going, right? After that infamous live stream with Myra Gaines and Sneako, Fresh and Fit then go ahead. Fresh and Fit go ahead, right? And they invite who's the guy's name? Oh my God, I forgot who his name was. Oh, Nick Fuentes. They then go and invite Nick Fuentes on the panel. Nick Fuentes goes on Fresh and Fit, talks about the Jews, right? They put Nick Fuentes in the midst of all black women. They have the black women say the N-word with Nick Fuentes. And that's when I said, okay, now you're done. When they did that live stream, I said, you guys are done. Because I said, up until now, you guys were pushing the envelope. You guys were essentially carrying water for your white male viewers. You guys were saying racist stuff that your white male audience could not say. Okay? And for the most part, you were getting away with it. I said, you bringing on Nick Fuentes, this is going to be the end. And trust and believe, when the consequences come, those same white boys that egged you on to say all this stuff, they are not going to save you. They're going to throw you away. You're going to become just another N-word for them. Because what you need to understand is, when it comes to white people, right, whenever they are done using their tools, they dispose them. And guess what happened? I still happened, right? Guess what happened? A couple of weeks, if not months later, Fresh and Fit do that infamous live stream saying, oh, we've been demonetized. And of course, a lot of people who are covering the situation, they think it's because of the massage. No, that's not what happened, right? Them being demonetized, this backlash, the consequence of facing is not because of misogyny. What happened is that they went too far when they brought on Nick Fuentes, especially when he started talking about the Jews. When he brought the J word, it was over for them. Okay? And by the way, I was already seeing signs of the white males turning on them, because when Myron Gaines went on Sneako Stream and he started wearing the hoodie, trying to act like the Ku Klux Klan, when I started to see some white guys turn on him, I said, okay, now they're already preparing things. See, now you're starting to become a liability, and they're already preparing things to cut you off, right? So now Fresh and Fit essentially are in a bad situation, right? Not only have they lost their main source of revenue on YouTube, right? They have other platforms, but the problem is that the main platform was YouTube, and the other platforms they use are not as prevalent. Because remember, they built their stuff on YouTube. And so all the other platforms, whether it's Rumble or stuff, right? These are the subscribers from YouTube going to those platforms. And I said, look, these white dudes are not going to save you because once again, if you're a content creator, you know what? It's that when you make content on the platform, people tend to stay on that platform. So your white male viewers are going to stay on YouTube. Like very few of them are going to, they may go onto Rumble or Instagram here and there, but for the most part, they're going to stay there. And after, and look, they'll watch your videos, they'll like it, watch the stream, but they're not going to donate to you like that, right? They're not gonna support you like that. And as time goes on, they'll go and find somebody else, okay? And what's probably going to happen to, and by the way, I'm really seeing it happening, right? What's going to happen is, as time goes on, Fresh and Fit is going to realize that they essentially got used by the white manosphere. You guys had, careers going on, gigs going on before YouTube. You chose to hop on YouTube, go to the white sector, right? The white manosphere built you up. They used you as their face, as the non-white face, to regurgitate all of the crazy stuff they couldn't. Look, if you go on Reddit and you go to some of these sites, right, white dudes go off about calling folks gorillas and the N-words, but see, they're smart enough to not sit on the platforms. They wanted you to say that stuff. They wanted you to go out there and say all this crazy stuff that they say behind closed doors, but they'll never say on the platform. See, they were smart enough to keep the platform clean, but they wanted you to mess up your entire stuff. Right? And as long as you could be used as a face to say the quiet part loud, that's fine. But now that you've gone too far and you've retributed, you are now a liability. And a lot of your white male followers, I promise you, they're not going to replace the revenue you were making. They're not going to donate to you like that. They're not even going to sign to your Patreon like that. They are not going to go to the other platforms. They're really not. Right? Most of them, the vast majority of them are gonna do what? They're gonna keep watching your videos. They're gonna like your videos. They're gonna, comment your videos. That's gonna be it, and they're gonna move on to something else. And you guys are gonna find yourself in a situation in which not only are you gonna slowly lose the money, your money's gonna dry up. Not only will your money dry up, but you guys are increasingly going to be isolated. Because here's the thing, look. Because of all the crazy stuff that Fresh and Fit said, they can no longer go back to the economy. Anywhere they go to get hired, people are going to pull the strings. Hey, Myron Gaines, was this you on the live stream calling folks the N-word? Was this you on the live stream saying gorilla? See, that's why he's crying. That's why Myron was crying, because he knew. There is no going back. He's never going to be able to get a job ever again. Like, it's going to take... Myron Gaines, Fresh and Fit will literally have to be offline for like multiple years for them to go back to the normal economy. But as of now, no. Like, they know they cannot go back to a normal economy because everywhere they go, an employer is going to pull up their name and say, hey, no, we don't want that in our company. And now you got reports that apparently the place where the studio's host wants them to leave. Come on. So let Fresh and Fit be a warning to all the black people who essentially want to pan the white talking points. Same thing with Brennan Tatum's and Kenneth Owens, right? Because we already know that eventually it'll backfire on them. Let's be a warning. It's fun at first. They'll pay you to support you. But guess what? They will use you as long as you're a useful tool. The moment you become a liability for them, the moment you become a liability for these white folks, they will have no problem discarding you as tools. And here's the fucked up part: when they discard you, they do it in the worst way, because they do it in a way in which you can go to anybody else. When Candace Owens and Brennan Tatum are no longer useful, the white conservatives will discard them. And when they discard them, Candace Owens and Brennan Tatum will have nowhere to go. They, when it comes to Fresh and Fit, the white manosphere and the white supporters use Fresh and Fit to push the envelope. Now that Fresh and Fit have faced the consequences and are now a liability, you see how the white manosphere is slowly throwing the bus. The white manosphere is starting to distance themselves, right? They're now cutting you off. And they've left you in a position where you have nowhere to go. So let this be a lesson, okay? When you decide to carry water for white people, be careful. Because when you're no longer a useful tool, they will drop you and you will feel it. So I just wanted to put that video out there. You guys tell me in the chat what you guys think. Do you agree, disagree? Comment down below. I wasn't expecting to do a video right now, but I found some time, so I had to go and find somewhere quiet to record. But nevertheless, tell me what you guys think. And with that being said, oh, and also one more thing before I go, right? I want you guys to compare this to Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels chose to stay by the black males here, and you saw how everything worked out for him because of that. So remember that. But nevertheless, guys, thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, hammer out.